What we ultimately believe and what this month is about all students being included wherever they are, whether in school, in our neighborhoods, in our churches, as well as the workplace. But it's often those attitudinal barriers that that is a struggle for everyday life for people with disabilities. So those attitudes can keep us from understanding the value of every person and what he or she has to offer. So students with disabilities may look and learn differently, but the reality is whether a student is typical or receives special education, they desire to be valued for their unique gifts and accepted for who they are. So I think that that is really the message of Disability Awareness Month.
We're here today to talk about special education, and we have some pretty important people. So thank you for being on the call, Bill and Susie. If you'd like to introduce yourself and let us know your respective roles.
Hi, I'm Susie McKelvey. I am the Special Ed Director for the Stark County Educational Service Center, located over in the Stark State campus.
Hi, Susie. And Bill?
Yes, my name is Bill Green. I'm the superintendent of the Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities. We serve over 4,000 people here with intellectual disabilities in our community.
Wonderful. Thank you. It's so special to have you guys on this call today. And we kind of arranged this just knowing that we haven't talked about education yet on our video series, but then also randomly Googled the fact that it is Developmental Disabilities Awareness Month nationally. So in that effort, it says this is a time to reflect on the progress made toward improving the quality of life for individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities. Bill, I'll start with you because I believe your history kind of proves the quality of life and the improvements that have been made in special education. So can you give us a background of the board?
Yes, so the board was actually founded in 1968. But previous to that, what would happen with children with significant disabilities? School districts at that time could determine a child to be ineducable. And when that was the case, they weren't served in the classroom any longer. So parents got together with some educators, and they would literally educate people in the basement of churches and in other locations that were kind of non-classroom based. So that was really the origin of our schools. It really goes back to build on the backs of parents who wanted an education for their child. But over time, through legislation, the American Disabilities Act, IDEA, which is Individual Disability Education Act for children with disabilities, things have very much positively been influenced.
And when you say your schools, can you let our community know what that means?
Yes, so we come along our 17 local school districts, and we educate 100 students in our school age program and 65 in our preschool program who have very unique and challenging and intense needs. Our ultimate goal is that we would return each student to their school district so that they would grow up with their typical peers. And that's our ultimate aim, as I know it is for Susie as well.
Mm-hmm. And those schools, if anybody's familiar, are Eastgate and Southgate.
That is correct. And we also, to really advocate for inclusive education, we have a partnership with the Educational Service Center and Plain Local Schools And we have 2 classrooms embedded in Taft Elementary and Avondale Elementary as well.
Wonderful. And Susie, if you can explain your role at the Service Center?
Sure. And we kind of go along supporting all of the Stark County school districts, the 17 that Bill spoke about. And then we also serve surrounding school districts as well, as needed, that could possibly be in Summit or Wayne or Carroll County. And what we do is we are an extension of the public school, and we help support that continuum of services where Bill talked about having those students at Eastgate or Southgate, and then talking about that inclusion setting. We support the school districts in providing those services within the public school, but in a smaller type setting, to kind of help those with those significant disabilities that need that smaller, more intensive services within the public schools.
And the students can stay within the school system until they're how old, Susie?
It depends on the student's need. It is a team decision. It is based upon the IEP, that individual education plan that they have. But they do have the opportunity to remain in school until their 22nd birthday if their IEP determines that that's a need. And we work in collaboration with the transition DD services that Bill kind of oversees over there, kind of linking those services for post-grad after that. So we have, it's again, that continuum. They may start out with Bill and come into this public school system, and then we kind of help them along those lifelong services that DD helps support.
When we talk about the number of people we serve, so it is mostly non-educational services that we provide. It is more those after educational hours, and we are literally responsible from birth all the way to a person's, as they age and they become seniors. So we offer early intervention, and that's for 0 to 3. Then we have preschool, school age with a very small number that we serve. And then the majority of people we serve are adults, and we fund their services. We plan their services through the individual service plan, and then we monitor them to make sure that they are living the life they want to live.
So we do this series because we want to hear from you and understand your organizations, but we also want to know, how has COVID affected not only education but special education? And Susie, I'll start with you, be it that you're within most of the school districts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what has the pandemic done?
Mm-hmm. Well, and I will say most all of the schools in Stark County have done their best to stay and offer those face-to-face services, in-person services for all students, including students with significant needs. So I want to thank all of the superintendents and the health departments, and Bill was part of that team that really fought to keep all of our schools open. But the pandemic definitely, nobody has gone unscathed. All of our schools have offered, like I said, both face-to-face, but then remote learning as well, so that they can remain at home. And we know that that population of students or people that have those health risks, a lot of our students kind of fall into that. So many of them have opted, due to health risk and health concern, to stay at home. Which is completely understandable, but it's so hard to reach those students who already have those cognitive or physical, emotional disabilities, to connect to them through a computer. But we are doing it, and we are doing our best, but it is definitely hard when we know those students who need that engagement and that hands-on learning, and to be with people and their peers and to work through things. A screen definitely defers that and makes it very difficult. But our teachers have done a great job. Our directors have done a great job at looking at that continuum and looking at what services we can provide. We've been able to provide some settings within the school building so that the students can come in to a sterile area. So at least we can kind of get that interaction, but it is pretty limited. So we're doing our best and hoping that we get to a place where we can get all students back together.
So with the pandemic and with goodness, everything going on. Do you have specific needs within, maybe Bill Southgate and Eastgate, or Susie in education in general? What are your needs right now?
I would say what the biggest need in that is that that we have all the staff healthy and well to provide the services, and that's always a struggle, is to find a committed and dedicated workforce, and for this unique time when there are quarantines, there's illness, and our staff have to be off. So that's one of the challenges I'm sure that Susie is facing as well. And given the number of classrooms they have, it's probably even bigger. So I'll defer to Susie at this time.
Yes, and you are exactly right, Bill. The need for that, those people who want to be in the buildings and help out on our sub list, whether it is for our educational aides or our certified staff, teachers, bus drivers, cafeteria workers, the need for manpower is definitely there when we have those extended quarantines or the illness itself. We have plenty of staff who have gotten sick and have been sick for an extended period of time, and it's just not, healthy or safe for them to come back. So definitely we could always use subs. Even prior to the pandemic, we were in need of subs, and now it's just become a greater need for sure.
Sure. And for all those listening out there, what are the qualifications for a sub? Because I believe I was at one, well, I know I was at one time, and didn't know how easy it was to become one.
So to become a sub for us as an aide, you need a high school diploma and either an associate's degree or the passing of the parapro praxis exam. That exam can be taken here at the Educational Service Center. You would just need to call and make an appointment and come over and see our licensing. As for a teacher sub, that would just require a bachelor's degree of any kind. So we need a copy of the transcripts. Both jobs require a background check and an application to the Ohio Department of Education for a license, but we can help you out with all of those things.
So as far as, this is National Awareness Month. What's going on? Bill, I believe I saw a lot of activity on your Facebook page. Is there any way that our constituents can educate themselves on special education or special needs?
Yeah, absolutely. So hopefully our website and our social media presence is ripe on some of the things we're doing. The color this month is orange, so we have people taking their pictures with orange all over the county. So that's one very, very specific thing we can do. And unfortunately, we're unable to do our disability awareness walk this year. We usually have that at Belden Village. So most of the activities are online. So I would just direct everyone to our webpage and our social media presence on Facebook.
Yeah, and I'll say that is the Stark County Board of Developmental Disabilities on Facebook. And I guess my final question will be, Susie, you kind of alluded to this, how important it is for social interaction at all ages, at all intellectual levels. What's available for those with developmental disabilities in the summer?
Sure. In the summer, there's a lot of agencies out there or organizations out there that students can participate in sporting activities, things like that, just as your typical peers were. Challenger Baseball League is a large baseball league of students with disabilities that has grown quite a bit over the years as well. Stark Public Special Olympics is the Special Olympics organization that's here in Stark County, and they run the different sporting events year round. Like if you want to be on the bowling team or the baseball team or the basketball team, the Royal Knights basketball team is actually a pretty popular one. And they've done pretty well in many of their tournaments. During the summer, we talk to families about if they're looking for summer programs or camps for their students to be able to attend. Baylor Beach, the Arc of Stark County hosts a camp at Baylor Beach. The Rotary up at Portage Lakes, Akron Rotary, the Akron Rotary sponsors a camp up at Portage Lakes. And then there's different things out there and available. And as as those come to our attention, we'll share them out with families that they could participate in.
Wonderful. And Bill, anything go on at your schools during the summer?
So yeah, the programming is the same. Where we get intricately involved is that we have a family support services program. So that will provide funding to anyone that, whether they're served by the ESC, a public school district, or ourselves, and it will fund $850 for one child, and then it's more if there's multiple siblings, and to be able to attend these camps. So we provide funding for families in need who may need that. So that's something that we want to make sure that is out there too, to make sure that all families are aware of.
That's wonderful.
Amy, before we close, I did want to say something about everything that special education attempts to do is to create opportunities for students who look, learn, and speak differently to fulfill their God-given potential. We're grateful to the teachers, the therapists, the assistants who are making that really come true here in Stark County. We are really blessed with people like Susie, our 17 school districts, our staff, all working together to really bring needed education for people with disabilities in the Stark County community.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing a little bit about your organizations, and definitely thank you for all the passion that you have and the care in your heart. We greatly appreciate you.
Thank you for having us.